Welcome to this lesson, lesson number 11 on editing video. You're watching better pics in just a few clicks. Before I get too far ahead of myself, don't forget to smash that like button and hit subscribe to see more videos just like this one. So let's go ahead and get started. Now, Photoshop isn't necessarily the way I would think of using video. Now, it does some things with video and the book works its way through. I would personally use a lot of stuff with Adobe Premiere or Adobe After Effects, which are really more the giants in terms of able to do video. But I can do some interesting things with some basic video and some animation. That is at least being talked about in the book. We're going to go ahead and find the 11 end.mp4 video. We'll go ahead and play that for a second. And here's the video that he did in Photoshop. Oh, isn't that nice? Now notice it includes transitions, layer effects, animated text, and even a musical track. So it does actually do a lot of things inside of Photoshop. To start, we're going to go ahead and open up the 11 end PSD file, not the MP4, but the PSD file. It may take a little while to load because there's a lot of files packed and linked and embedded inside this file. Once it does, here it shows up. Then we're going to go to Window, and we're going to go down to Timeline. It'll pop up something like this. Now, if you're familiar with After Effects or Premiere, you might be kind of familiar with this timeline concept. Now I have a play button. I can play things through. I have a play head, where I can actually drag the cursor. Got the image file on here. I've got a video clip, which these are the concepts right here in my video clip. I can go ahead and zoom in with this timeline, zoom in a little bit so I can see each one a little clearer, a little closer. Each one has its clip in here. I can scrub through with my play line. It'll show me the time of my file, the frame rate, and it'll show me a lot of different things inside of each group, which is great. Once it's playing, if I go ahead and hit spacebar, I can pause the video. Now notice the quality shows up a little lower. It does give you a lower preview size, so it plays a little smoother. When I pause it, it does look a little crisper and sharper. So it will lower the quality just for the preview size, so it's not as taxing on your computer. Now we're going to go ahead and close the file. That was just a way to see the structure of how it's set up. Now with Photoshop and the home screen still open, we're going to go ahead and go to File and hit New. And we're going to go ahead and name the file 11 working.psd. We'll go ahead and choose film and video from the file up here. And we're going to choose HDV HDTV 720p. This version right here, the second option. Then we're going to go down here and hit Create. I'm going to go ahead and save our file. And we're started. Notice my timeline is still on. I still have the same preset there. Then we'll go to Window, Workspace, over to Motion. Now I'm in the Motion preset. It'll change my panels and things that I have up. Now I have to go ahead and import some of the different assets, which are the different files, the video clips, the audio clips, and the pictures. I can go ahead and fit to the screen. I'm going to do Control-0 to make this fit my screen. Now I'm using a 4K video, so it's showing that 215% size. It might be a smaller percent size based on your laptop or your monitor or your computer's desktop's resolution. Now in the bottom section here, we have this Create Video Timeline. I'm going to go ahead and press this button. It starts the video timeline process. It gives me an audio track, gives me a layer 0. Next, we're going to go ahead and click the video menu. It looks like the little film reel on the layer track 0. And we're going to choose Add Media. We're going to go ahead and find Lesson 11. And we're going to go ahead and click on file number 1, and then shift click on Sunset 6 to go ahead and select all 6 files. And then hit Open. Now they're all loaded in sequential numerical order. Now they're all put into a video group 1, all 6 layers. I don't need the layer 0, so I can go ahead and click that and hit delete. I'll go ahead and save my file, Control S or Command S on a Mac. Now the clips are different size durations, they're in last different speeds. So we have to do a couple different things here. We're going to go ahead and shorten them all to 3 seconds. I'm going to go ahead and drag in here to zoom in on our timeline a little bit. The first clip. Hover over the first clip. We'll get a timeline there we can drag. We're going to move it to 3 seconds. You can see the frame rate changing there as I shrink it up down to 3. We're going to do that for each clip, making each one 3 seconds. We're going to put the playhead at the beginning, which it is. And then in the layers panel, we're going to go ahead and click One Family. And I'm going to go ahead and drag this window smaller to fit so I can see more of the menus. It helps to see more of my timeline. Control 0 to make it fit, or Command 0 on a Mac. Go ahead and zoom in a little bit on my file. You can see it a little clearer. Now if I zoom in on my clip, I have this little triangle play button. I go ahead and click it. It'll pop up a pop-up menu. I'm going to choose from no motion to pan and zoom. I'm going to make sure that resize to fill canvas is on, which it is. I'm going to just click away on an empty area to close that timeline. Now it gives me the pan and zoom. Then we're going to go ahead and open up the motion panel. And choose no motion. Fit. So that's just a way to make it fit to screen by cheating to go pan and zoom and then change it back to the no motion area. Save our work. Now we're going to animate text with keyframes. Now, keyframes are very valuable to say from point A to point B. Go from this point to this point, and it will move as we tell it to do. Animations are a great part of really creating media, creating motion in your videos. Now, to have a keyframe, we need to have at least 2 keyframes, one at the beginning and one to state where the motion will end. Now, in my video group, I'm going to go ahead and click this little film reel with a triangle down. Go ahead and click it and hit New Video Group. That pops up a new video group number 2, believe it or not. Now we're going to go ahead and select the horizontal text tool. And we're going to click on the left edge of the image, about halfway down from the top. About like that. And we're going to write Beach Day instead of the filler text. I'm going to select my text. I'm going to change it to Myriad Pro. From Myriad Pro, I'm also going to change it to 600 point font. As you notice, the text doesn't fit right now because it's so large, it's outside the box, and that's intentional. In the Layers panel, we're going to go ahead and click this text now, which says Beach Day. And we're going to change the opacity to 25%. In the timeline now, over here, we're going to go ahead and drag this to fit to 3 seconds, so it's the same as this particular clip. Then we'll go ahead and click the triangle. Then we'll go ahead to the very left of the video group 2 and click the triangle, drop down this menu. And you can see these little keyframes, these stopwatches. This is how we set up a keyframe. We're going to put the timeline all the way to the beginning, the playhead. We'll go to the transform property and click the keyframe. You can see now that has a stopwatch to start. It has a little diamond here. We'll go ahead and select the move tool up at the top corner here. I'm going to drag my beach, make it a little bit bigger still. We can drag that over to the left. All the way over here. Then we're going to move the timeline all the way to 229. So it's the last frame. I'm not exactly sure at all what it's trying to tell me to do here with the text clip. I've played with it for a while, and I am not finding a way to actually add a lot of animation to this text. So that's a little wonky. I know Photoshop is definitely not a video software per se, and it's really struggling here for sure. Now, the author says that one of the benefits of working with video files in Photoshop is you can create effects using adjustment layers, styles, and simple transformations right in the software. So next we're going to go ahead and adjust layers to video clips. In the layers panel, I'm going to go ahead and select the dog layer. Move the timeline playhead right to the portion of the dog. Then we'll go to the adjustments panel. And under the adjustments panel, we're going to go ahead and choose black and white. And it converts it to black and white. And as you can see here, it is become black and white. And it automatically made it a clipping mask, so it only affects the dog layer, not all the other layers underneath it. Now we're going to add a zoom effect. To do so, we're going to go ahead and click the For Dogs layer. Move the timeline right to the portion of the dogs. And we'll go ahead and click the triangle at the top right corner. And we're going to go ahead and choose Zoom. We're going to go ahead, make sure it fills the canvas. And click away in an empty area. Close the motion panel. Now we'll go ahead and see what it does. It actually is zooming in the piece. And that's great. Then we'll go ahead and click the triangle next to the dogs. We can see the attributes of the clip. It has the transform right here from point A to point B on the keyframes. And we want to go ahead and edit free transform. In the options panel, we're going to go ahead and change it to 120 in the width and the height in the option bar. And then commit. Now it's zooming more because I've enlarged that ratio using the free transform tool. Make sure that's the last keyframe where it does that particular change. Zooming a little bit more there. We'll go and save our file, Control S or Command S on a Mac. Now we're going to animate an image using a motion effect. For this one, we'll go ahead and click the jumping file. We'll go ahead and move the playhead right to the portion where we see the picture starting. Now we'll move the playhead to the end of the clip, which is 1429. We're going to go ahead and shift click to drag this layer down. Now holding Shift keeps it proportionate. About like that. Go ahead and click the triangle on the left portion of the clip. We'll go ahead and put the position stopwatch for the keyframe. Now we're going to move the playhead to the beginning, first frame. And we'll go ahead and drag the canvas down to about where it was to begin with, somewhere about there. What that's doing is now creating a keyframe from point A to point B. Zooming up on the kid because you started at the bottom, we reverse that direction. And hit save. Now I can easily use this technique like you've seen in documentaries. Ken Burns has the Ken Burns effect. The effect's actually named after him. That's how good it is and how much you used it. We're going to go ahead and click the Sunset 6 file. And we'll go ahead and hit the triangle in the top right corner of the clip to its motion settings. And we'll go ahead and choose Pan and Zoom in the pop-up menu, and then we're going to go ahead and choose Zoom Out. Make sure Fill Canvas is selected, which it is. Then click somewhere else on the canvas to make it activated. Now there is a pan and zoom out. It's zooming out. Now to add transitions. We're going to go to the very first frame, very beginning. In the upper left corner of the timeline panel, there's a transition button. We're going to go ahead and click it. And we're going to choose it to 1/4 of a second. 0.25 seconds. And then we're going to choose the crossfade. And then we'll go ahead and just drag between our clips, like so. To add a dissolve, a crossfade dissolve between them. And at the end, to give it a super polished look, we'll go ahead and choose a transition, fade with black, and choose fade with black to the end setting. And then hit save. The next step we're going to do is add audio. Now you can add a separate track of audio to a video file in Photoshop, which is actually kind of amazing. To add an audio track, we go ahead and click the little musical notes on the audio track portion and hit add audio. I'm going to go ahead and find the beach song. Double click it in. And there we go. Now you do notice as I zoom out that the beach song is much longer than the actual video clips themselves. So we need to go ahead and split this to make it shorter. To do that, we go to the timeline portion here. We click the little scissors tool. Click it. And we're going to go ahead and split it in the timeline. Now to do the split, it's unlike some other tools like in Premiere, we actually have to go ahead and move the timeline over to the portion of the video that we want. We go ahead and zoom in a little bit to be more precise. And then I hit the scissors tool to split the song. Go ahead and click the end part and delete it. Then I can choose the triangle here on the right side and choose a fade out. Enter 3 seconds for the fade in and 5 seconds for the fade out. And click somewhere to make it go away. And this is my file. So I can go to the beginning and I can activate it. It's working pretty well, minus my text is not animated correctly. I'm not exactly sure what I'm doing with the text. And I've done a lot of Premiere, a lot of Photoshop, and a lot of After Effects, and that was actually quite confusing. Now I'm going to go ahead and mute unwanted audio. We're going to go ahead and click the boat ride piece. We're going to click the triangle here in the right section. Go to the audio side. And we're going to go ahead and hit mute audio. So this particular clip is muted. Go to the beach clip as well. And mute that clip on the audio side. Now the last step, rendering your video out. How to get it to actually make it a file. To do so, we go up to File, Export, Render Video. It pops up a menu. I'm going to go ahead and change mine to 11 final.mp4. And the presets already automatically going into the lesson 11 folder, which is great, which is where I want it to go. In the preset menu, I'm going to go ahead and choose high quality, and I'm going to go down to YouTube HD 720p because that's the size I started it with. And then I go ahead and click render. Now, depending on the quality and the speed of your video, it might take a little while. It might be actually fairly fast based on your computer speed and a lot of different factors. You go ahead and save your work, and now you've got your video ready to upload to social media or YouTube or wherever you want to put it. Thanks for watching Better Picks in just a few clicks. I appreciate your support in watching this video. Go ahead and hit subscribe and like to see more videos just like this one.